Welcome, everybody, to another episode of From a Certain Point of Skew, the only Star Wars podcast that promises to give you 40% of something. I can't promise you it's Star Wars knowledge, but it's 40% of something. I am one of the hosts here, the Angry Ginger, sitting inside Wookiee Poo Studios. I'm not alone. Please allow me to introduce my other co-host, your favorite wretched scum, scoundrels, and smugglers. Neighbor Cole from Corellia, the number one targeted rebel. And I believe it was 2018 you were the number one?
2018.
Yeah, in 2019. And you've got a book that you've got coming out soon. We're going to talk all about it at the break.
Lando Calrissian took the top slot from me in 2019.
Oh, okay.
40% of efficient word usage in the beginning of an opening.
Right.
Yes, that's what we're looking for today. Yeah.
If that's all that we have to do, then we are succeeding. And by we, I mean me.
We wake up every morning and we piss at excellence.
Yeah,
that's
40% excellence.
That's how we do things. Thanks for having me on the show, Jay.
60% spotchka.
60% spotchka, yeah. It's flammable. Your urine's flammable because you have so much spotchka in it. That's what it is.
Look out for a spark.
Yeah, watch out for the sparks. Thanks for having me on the show. I appreciate it. It's good to be here. And Wookiee Poo Studios is looking lively. Well, a lot of younglings running around today, but we got them under control. We got them corralled into the...
I'm glad you brought that up at the beginning of the show. So, like, when they start hearing the ruckus, the listener, they know what's going on here.
And when I start pulling my blaster and just downing them, that's how...
And in younglings' lives?
Yeah, just taking them out. We could use a youngling purge.
We have no problem using the Anakin Skywalker rule here at the daycare.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we are not alone. We do have a third micer coming in hot off the Skype lines across from us in the galaxy. Dark Matthews. Matt, welcome to the show.
Misa, muy excited to be on such a bomb-bad podcast.
Oh, man. How many times could you say that word?
Fuck.
Oh. Good old Jar Jar.
That was just
back to ruining. Yeah, 2 episodes, right? I think it was a back-to-back.
Yes, I was. My hopes for season 6 of the Clone Wars was that we wouldn't have the filler, but they decided to put in 2 Jar Jar episodes instead of droid episodes, and that was what we had to deal with.
Yep.
How many people besides me and you, Jay, do you think tune in to hear Matt do that impression?
I think everybody looks forward to it. I know I do. I dream about it.
It's what keeps me going on this podcast.
When I watch the show, I'm like, okay, let's see if this is the voice he's going to do. Like I try to find it while I'm watching.
Yeah, I try to pick something out too. I'm going to start making bets with myself.
I thought maybe he'd try to do Gollum Yoda.
Yeah, I was thinking that one too. I noticed that.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I wasn't sure how to do that. Thought about Darth Bane too. That was a tough one. I couldn't. I just decided I'll just do Jar Jar again. You could always go back to the well and do Jar Jar.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get started, just let everybody know you can find all of our podcast stuff at FromACertainPointOfSkew.com. We're on Twitter at FACPA Pod, and you can email the show FACPAPod@gmail.com. And make sure to go out to teespring.com/stores/FACPA Pod, and you can get some fresh gear.
Right, 100% T-shirt.
That's right, not 40%. It's 100%.
Yeah.
Fresh merc.
Mm-hmm. We got a big show for you guys today. We've got the question of the week coming up. We've got a bunch in the news. We're going to cover season 6 this episode. We've gone through it, all 13 episodes. Finished it just in the nick of time again.
Of course.
Kids are like, I tell you, every time it's like, oh, I got all day. I have 3 episodes to get through. And it took me all day to fucking get through those 3 episodes. Like, I'm like, oh, they're eating pizza at the birthday party? I run downstairs, watch an episode. Can we open presents up yet? Well, you're going to wait a minute. Terrible father is what I'm getting at.
Well, there's a lot going on in those last 3 episodes that, like, as far as lore and things. So you kind of want to be paying attention. So I could see how that would take time.
Yep. We've got, so we're going to do that. We've got something in the mail bag, correct?
Yep.
All right. And then we've got a FACPA factoid for you. But first, I guess we should wrap up with Matt was giving everyone how to reach us. So if you go and find me, the Angry Ginger, over on the Twitter sphere, I am at S7EVEN Days of Geek. Just like the 7 Days of Geek podcast that we, Cole and I do. Cole, where do they find you?
Find me at Neighbor Cole. It's NEIGHBOR Cole.
And if they find you, what do they do with you?
They release me back into the wild.
So like catch and release?
Well, I've been conditioned and I can't survive on my own.
Oh, okay.
You can also find me at Reasons Are, my personal account. And I will throw out the question of the week if you're good with that. Mm-hmm. There was a tweet that went out, and then we talked about it a little bit, but Lucasfilm recently applied for a trademark for the term Skywalker Academy. So we were thinking, what will that be used for? Is that going to be something related to books and comics? Is it going to be something related to live action? And does that mean it's like a Luke Skywalker thing? Is it a Rey Skywalker thing, etc.? So I was curious what you guys thought that could potentially mean.
Well, first of all, how do they not have this trademarked already?
That seems odd.
Yeah, maybe because they had Jedi Academy and maybe it was Skywalker Academy. But I was like, maybe they just like they've owned it for a few years. You got to plot. When you get a website every 3 years, you got to reboot and be like, I want the website still. So maybe they had to pay their fees on it to keep it. But I was like, they actually just did it now. So yeah, it's got to mean something. I mean, they don't just like well, now sometimes they're known to do like Marvel's done it. Some corporations do it where they'll buy different names to sort of like cut you. There's a bunch of things they do, so you can't really tell what one they're going to use. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was looking for. Thank you for letting me stumble over my words for far too long.
Well, I heard that the 501st has been a little heavy-handed with their use of force tactics, so they're bringing together an academy to train these guys properly on how to deal with civilians.
I like it.
How do we get into that organization?
I don't know. I'm gonna send them some money though. I'm gonna donate.
Like the police thing that they call every year. Would you like to donate $10 to the
Fraternal FOP, Fraternal Order of Police, just so you can get the sticker.
Fraternal Order of the 501st,
and then not get. Yeah, that'd be a good sticker for the show. Fraternal FO 501.
Yeah. Well, I will say this too. I didn't see this until just today. Somebody mentioned that it looked like the trademark was more aimed toward like a clothing line,
athletic apparel or something. I heard, and I was like, who wants Jedi Academy? Like, okay, first of all, we watch Star Wars, we probably wear it, but like, that seems like a weird thing to do a trademark for that for some type of apparel.
It is, and like you said, how do they not have a trademark before? Because all that stuff's a drop in the bucket money-wise. So you would think that somebody would just come up with every possible thing that they could be doing and be like, let's trademark all these things. And and we know fans are monitoring this stuff, but at the same time, it's it's just we might as well have it covered. But I was thinking, if it was anything, I thought if it's related to anything live action, to me it seems like it would be more related to Luke. I would think that, and not necessarily them showing all of it or showing the Academy or just being mentioned. I think it's just going to be something that's talked about in other series, and so I could see them wanting to have that locked down because of that.
Like when they trademarked the word Super Bowl, no one could say Super Bowl on the air for a while. Remember that?
Yeah. That's what. Well, even when Bert and Tom were doing their thing, they couldn't be their Super Bowl podcast special. They had to call it their big game special. They have to refer to it as So same thing.
Yeah, March Madness, I think, is similar. I think there's a March Madness thing where you can't say it. So dumb.
Yeah, I know. Or you'll be sued. Ooh.
Yeah.
Fucking sue me.
They can get all of our equipment for the show if we use it.
No, they can't. It's almost paid off. They're not taking it.
Yeah, not that board. Look at that thing.
Right.
It's gorgeous.
My wish is that it's something to do with Luke or with the live action. And you're right. Like if you go between Luke or Rey, it doesn't seem like they're doing anything right now except for the Rogue Squadron or whatever they announced with what's her face Wonder Woman director that's going to make a movie that seems to be possible that's going to take place in that era after the last Skywalker. But like everything they're doing right now, like is in this era in between the original trilogy and the newest one, so it would kind of make sense that would be the story.
And I guess it depends on what you want. Do you want more futuristic
stuff,
all. Or do you want more look into the past? I mean, I don't know. I would kind of be on Team Rey for this one if they were going to go in a direction of something. If this were to be turned into a show or something, I
wonder if the films are going to be more where they continue the saga out into the future, and then like everything they're doing on Disney Plus right now seems to be mostly contained into this one area of time, filling in the holes, the history between.
I don't know. I don't know if I want to see some more. I mean, I want to see anything Star Wars related to, but I would, if I had a preference, I'd like to see more futuristic content. They can go in a bunch of different directions versus what something they're tied into with Luke's story, the Skywalker story. Yeah. Right? It's been played over and over and over. That's what this whole entire thing is about, right?
Well, yeah, I could see them using movies to move the story forward, but then tacking series onto that once that's established. I could see that for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
filling in the holes.
Right.
Why don't they just let us run this thing?
I think we've got a good grip on it, to tell you the truth. I mean, if they greenlight one more show, they're going to need somebody to write it.
First series put out, Winky and the Wookiee.
Yep. Oh my God, yes.
We come in and we're like, guys, first of all, let's talk trademarks because you guys are way behind.
Trademark hashtag Winky.
Imagine
hashtag
all
Wookiee.
of the good ideas we've had on these 25 episodes put into a series.
Your trademark game is shit. Yeah. We're here to clean it up.
Yeah. We're going to need at least 100 of them for the first episode.
Start out with it.
We want to own the word it.
Very.
Well, let's get into the news. I was going to kick off the news just to remind folks about the May the 4th Metal Dash that that we talked about last time, because I did sign up, and I think Cole signed up. Did you sign up yet, Jay?
I did not. We were talking about the other day. You hadn't done it yet. You did do it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But
Jesus,
I will
I'm
be
on my
doing
own.
Yep.
well, we got to tell the Hall of Mace.
It's the rule of two.
Go.
It's the rule of two. You're on your own.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's right. I will be signing up. I've been working on my 5Ks.
Now, do you have to do it? Like, is the thing that everyone on the May 4th, May the 4th be with you, that's when they're doing the run, or just that month you're going to do it? Because I'm in Vegas, and it'll be really interesting. Like, I'll do it drunk. I'll do it right down the strip.
The rule on the
in a Wookiee costume
on the site said anytime during the month of May, you either just live stream your.
That's what I
you
thought
have
it
to
was.
live stream. You just picture and your number or whatever.
Yeah.
What'd you get? Did you get the shirt and the?
I went for the woman's tank top.
The woman's tank.
That.
Okay.
I suppose we should order it soon because the shipping on it's probably like 4 weeks out.
Well, I haven't got anything yet, so.
Okay.
We need to have Dave do it in his pink robe.
Oh man.
Yeah. Darth Flamingus in Vegas.
Dual lightsaber strapped to his back.
Hell yes.
Maybe a bandolier.
He'll do it too.
He
Yeah.
better.
If he doesn't, we'll shame him until he agrees to do it.
Okay.
Yeah. Shouldn't take longer than 8 minutes.
Well, and I looked to see if there was a way to do it as a group. I didn't really, it wasn't standing out to me. Maybe I need to look into it a little bit more, but I didn't know if there was a way for us all to see what other people are doing. It seemed like you could do that kind of on the whole, but not maybe to find your own group. But I'll take another look at it. But it's May4th.metaldash.com. That's where you go to.
Okay. Well, we can just create a group too.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could.
Let's get some Star Wars runners.
We need a new chat room.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, there's never enough.
I don't have about 15 of them on Twitter that run every day.
You mean 15 that you ignore?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, my entire Twitter is silent. I'm done with it.
Really?
After what they did to the president. No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Oh,
just
boy.
kidding. Just kidding.
That's another podcast
Sorry,
you want to talk to Matt about.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Kenobi, since we've recorded last, the Kenobi casting announcement came out, and there was a shit ton of people listed.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen, we knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Bonnie, is it Piesse? I don't know how you say that. Piesse?
I believe so.
I don't know how you say that.
Piesse.
But anyway, it's the gal who played Beru. Or
Yes.
Veru, if you will.
Veru, thank you.
Aunt Veru?
Knew that was coming.
And Joel Edgerton. So the two that played them in episode 3 will be back, and they will be playing them in
Episode
switch
1.
School. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of had the hots for Beru in episode 3 when I saw her come out and take Luke. I was like, hey,
Yeah?
she.
Oh.
Moses Ingram, who's in Queen's Gambit, which I've never seen. Haven't you guys watched that?
I've watched that.
The
She's in
Queen's
that?
Gambit? Hold on, I'm looking at the sheet right now. I'm trying to find out where's this person at? Oh, Moses. Okay. She was the friend of hers. Like they were kind of sisters, I believe. That was her.
She was from the
adoption place. Yeah, the foster care center.
Orphanage.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah.
That's the one.
Yep.
Okay. And then Adira Varma, I think we'd mentioned before. She was on Game of Thrones and stuff. I mean, we don't know who any of these people are going to be. Kumail Nanjiani, which is pretty hilarious. All jacked up now.
Yeah, I didn't expect to see him on this list.
No, that was a surprise to me. Also, O'Shea Jackson Jr., Ice Cube's son. He was fucking. If you guys have seen Straight Outta Compton, he was so stinking good in that. So I'm excited to see what he does.
I've liked him in everything. He's a charming fella in what he does. Yeah.
Do you know Rupert? Is it Friend? Is that how you say his name from Homeland?
Is that what I've seen him in things before. The name is very familiar. He sort of looks like if you were going to give Orlando Bloom like a fencing mustache and like an icy glare.
Yep.
Right?
I could see that.
Fencing mustache?
Look
What
at
is
him.
that?
He just
Fencing
looks like
mustache.
he just got done drinking an old fashioned.
He does
are
look
good.
a lot like Orlando Bloom.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, how do you say? Is it Sung Kong? Sung Kang? I don't know how you say it. The guy from Fast and Furious. Furious. I just said Furious.
Oh, is that
Most furious
is it
story.
Luke? What's his name? He died and then now he's back.
I think his
Han.
his name's
Han.
Han.
Yeah, Han.
Not Luke.
Han. Yes.
Like you call him Luke.
Hey, you know what? I'm done
You're
with
on a
this show.
Star Wars podcast.
I'm
It
done with
makes
my
sense.
brain. I know.
He played Princess Leia in Fast and
You
Furious.
sure did. That was the parody version.
And then Simone Kessel and Benny Safdie, I guess how you say that.
Is the two brothers that did the Adam Sandler movie and the movie that Quad picked and then we hated?
Gotta be more specific.
The one with
The Lighthouse.
I don't know. So my guess is he's a voice. He's a droid. He's something.
Oh yeah, could be. They don't mention Liam Neeson, but there's a lot of rumors about him showing up. And you would think if there's the whole communing with Qui-Gon deal going on, that's easily going to happen. So I would actually be kind of surprised if Liam Neeson doesn't show up during this entire season.
And really, like, what if he's doing Force Ghost shit? They can shoot that the last day.
Yeah.
Like, they can go to his house and just like set up a camera.
Yeah.
And just shoot the shit there, and no one will ever know.
Yeah, they'll keep that on the DL for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Which we also can, speaking a little teaser coming up, we do a lot of Force ghosting information in season 6.
Sure do.
Yes. Yeah, we get into that quite a bit.
A lot of Tinder date Force ghosting.
No Ahmed Best. No Jar Jar. Although I don't know if I can trust that.
Well, I think they came out and said, no, there is no Jar Jar in this.
He said it. They said it. I
don't trust them. After going through 6 seasons of this fucking animated show, and they've always got to squeeze his ass in somewhere, I just don't trust it.
Show us on the dial where Lucasfilm has hurt you, Jay.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that video set leak from Kenobi that they posted on I think it was on TikTok, and then it got reposted on Twitter?
The one where they're going through like old school Tatooine type thing, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's almost like, well, of course, like you're watching the footage, you're like, it's exactly what I expected to see. So no real shock there. I mean, somebody was joking about how they're like, well, somebody's getting fired. But at the same time, it's like they're not revealing anything. It's exactly what I expected to see. So
yeah, it's not a real spoiler there.
No. Switching gears a little to the Ahsoka series, you shared this with me, and I'd seen it as well as they had a description that they leaked out, which said Ahsoka Tano is on the hunt for the evil Grand Admiral Thrawn, in the hope it will help her locate the missing Ezra Bridger, the young Jedi that disappeared with Thrawn many years ago. So it's very much in line with what we were kind of expecting the series to be. Obviously, she's going after Thrawn. She mentioned it in Mandalorian. And we know that Ezra Bridger is being tossed around as a very possible, actor in that, or character in that series. So none of this is surprising. It's just that it just kind of confirms what we were thinking was going to happen.
Yeah, basically picking up right off of the end of where Rebels ended off. It's going straight from there, it looks like. So.
Right. Yeah, we just don't know what the gap will be between where Rebels left off and where this picks up.
I think it'd be great if like we go into it and the last episode is what we were expecting. Like everything else is just like this whole, like it's awesome, but it's not anything we were, like, oh, that's ballsy. And then there's a second season that comes out, like, kind of like Better Call Saul. When you go into it, you think you're getting Breaking Bad, but boy, it's a different show, a different feeling. It takes a long time for them to follow the breadcrumbs to Better Call Saul.
Yeah,
I'd be okay with that, so I'd get more Ahsoka story. Did you hear that? I said Ahsoka.
You did. You nailed it again.
Yeah,
you've got that down now.
Well, I don't want to. I want to fucking say Ahsoka. Excuse me.
Her name's Ahsoka.
The Bad Batch. Did you guys see the most recent trailer?
Oh my God, it looks incredible.
Yeah, it looks really good. I mean, it's just more cool footage. It's a lot of Tarkin, and he's hanging out with the Kaminoan. It's hard to say that. Kind of overlooking the training. It looks a lot like some of the stuff we saw in Clone Wars, as far as them like running through the circuit and all that kind of stuff. You get more Fennec Shand with her talking, and then we see some kid named Omega, and I'm not sure who that kid's supposed to be. Thoughts? I don't know.
Because he's an Omega clone, or she. Online, it's back and forth. Some are saying he, some are saying she. There was someone saying that in another country with the subtitles on, the way that the subtitles were worded, it was I want to say it was a female. The description was in a female form, not male. But I think we were supposed to take. What were you taking it as?
I thought it was a boy.
Okay.
But I don't know who that's supposed to be. I mean, everybody's throwing out all sorts of crazy ideas, but I don't know if that's supposed to be somebody or not. People are like, is that a Palpatine clone and all this kind of stuff? I don't know.
Well, let me hit you with this, because we don't know. We know Palpatine had a son, right?
Yep.
But was his son just his clone?
So you're thinking this is Rey's father?
Dad. Yep.
Oh, interesting.
How do we know Palpatine had a son? What am I missing?
Well, he can't be Rey's grandpappy without it.
Okay, yeah. Or
right?
he could have had a daughter.
I think it was. I think
they
it was
mentioned it was his son.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Somehow it was alluded to that it was his son.
Yep.
It was, yeah.
Now, like I'd like to see that story, like see what this is here, but played out like even in live action. Because if you go back and you watch The Last Jedi, when they show the shot of the parents in the ship or whatever, right? That's what's her name? Jodie Comer, Jodie something. She's from. Oh fuck the. See, I'm podcasting, I lose the name, but she's in the new Game Over movie with Ryan Reynolds, and she's the killer assassin in whatever that show is that's got Sandra Oh in it, and it's written by what's her face that starred in Fleabag. She just got cast in Indiana Jones 5.
Oh,
and
Phoebe.
She was L373 whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Phoebe. Yeah, Phoebe. What's her name? Yeah, she.
Waller-Bridge, I think.
Yeah, Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She writes the show that girl was. So I was like, she's got a big enough name where they could sort of build a show around that story and that timeline, right? It'd be kind of interesting to see. And I think like if they did it in a TV show, I think they could build the Rey's lineage a little bit better. Sort of like if they go back with Luke and do the Jedi Academy with Ben, and we get a little bit more backstory. I think the movies going into them later will have they'll play better.
Well, there's enough there to continue to flesh out since so much of that stuff was rushed and kind of slapped together a little bit. So yeah, you could certainly explain that out better. I could see that. I wasn't sure when that kid popped up. I was like, who the hell is this kid? Because it appears that kid's going to be a fairly significant character in the show.
Well, yeah, it's one or the other, right? It's just like some kid that they throw into the show to be like, oh, a kid's involved, so kids will watch. But like that's not really. Doesn't seem it looks like there's too much weight on that character that to just be like a toss, like this is the mission of the week, the 70-minute opener or whatever is all about this, and they kind of disregard him and they go back into some bad bat shit. Like
watch the kid dies like first episode. Oops, never mind.
Speculating, it could be this. Yeah, it might be Palpatine's son. And it's nothing.
Spent an entire 4 episodes.
40% people
speculating.
Oh, that's funny. It's funny too because they kind of run through who's in the Bad Batch, and they mention Echo, who at this point we haven't got to the point in Clone Wars yet where I think more is coming with Echo in season 7.
Yes,
but from our understanding at this point, if we're following it along the way we have, I think he's meant to be dead.
Yeah, he died in that explosion, saving them all that we watched the last. Exactly. That was a good episode too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then we also see a young but scarred Saw Gerrera shows up. So there's a lot of shit in this trailer it's getting me excited. And so you had forwarded this on to me. The first episode is supposed to be 70 minutes long.
Yeah. Yes. Hey, get us in there, man. Let's just go all in. Then it'll be a 3-hour episode that will cover it. So if we're gonna do it right,
we have to turn that into double, triple. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, we cover a whole season, so I think we do 70 minutes in 3 hours.
Right. Yeah. Well, and the first one's 70 minutes, and then there's another episode 3 days later because they're going to go Tuesday on May the 4th when we're all running. And then Friday, I assume they get back into somewhat of a normal episode length. I mean, the thing is, because these things are being streamed off of Disney Plus, they're not part of a network. They're not necessarily going to be 23 minutes or whatever. We don't know how long these episodes are going to be.
Right. That's very true.
That's kind of interesting. And it said that there's supposed to be at least 14. That was from, I think, the Star Wars Facts Twitter, that there's supposed to be at least 14 episodes, which I know we were thinking, and I had mentioned 20 just seems like a lot, but I thought kind of 12 to 15, so that makes sense if it's at the higher end of that.
Agreed.
Exciting. It's coming. One more thing I was going to mention was just that there was this story where this guy, Josh D'Amaro, was doing a virtual look into the Disney parks. And at the end of the presentation, he fucking pulls out a real lightsaber and fires it up. We don't have visuals of this. Nobody was allowed to take video or pictures. But he fires this thing up and then is like, it's real. And so everybody's like, what in the hell did they make? And so I guess 4 years ago, they filed a patent, because we're following patents and trademarks these days on our show.
Yeah, hell yeah.
For a sword device with retractable, internally illuminated blade. So are we finding kyber crystals now? Is that happening for real?
Did he cut shit with it? Did he put on a display?
I think he just fired it up and held it up like, look at this shit. I don't know that it was described anything else that he did other than just showing it off.
Made by Ronco is what I'm hearing. Yeah. We got the schematics here to give to Dave. I'm gonna mail them over to Dave.
Okay. Yeah, fucking Gauntlet is thrown down, Dave. I mentioned it to him in one of our DM chats that he's got his work cut out for him. He's like,
all we need to do is throw him in the DeLorean. He's just got to go steal some plutonium, get that thing running. We'll be good.
What if he just he kills himself trying to make a real lightsaber on accident?
Oh, no.
Like blows up his garage.
He looks at it and turns it on, goes right through his head.
That's right, in the scene with Obi-Wan. We will, if that happens, Dave, just know that we will dedicate the next episode of FACPA to you.
Just one though, and we'll take all donations for your wake.
That's right.
We hope you win the real lightsaber.
It doesn't kill you.
All right, we can get into season 6 now.
Clone Wars season 6. This bad boy started out strong. I mean, we had like a solid just string of episodes until we got to the Jar Jar junk.
Ugh.
And It's always the Jar Jar junk and the Padme. And when they got to line them up together, it breaks my spirit.
Yeah, the Padme stuff was better than normal, I thought. It was a little bit more interesting. And
well, it ties into I like the idea that they're really starting to show the way that the Senator Palpatine, one or the other, is really like starting to lay all the pieces of how he like takes over and becomes the Emperor because like he has complete control over the banking system, like all the trade routes, like everything is, he's got, everyone they're so paying attention to these clone wars and off doing whatever, he's just got all these little things he's sprinkling on doing, and he runs it all.
When they show like on a TV show or movie when there'll be some sort of person who's like a conspiracy theorist and they've got all the shit all over the walls and there's like rubber bands tied together showing all the different, that has to be what Palpatine has. He has got a room somewhere where all this shit, because the number of plans he has, I mean, he must be the greatest project manager ever.
Yeah, he's like quantum physics just in his head all the time. He looks like that GIF with Zach Galifianakis, where he's like doing the math and whatever. That's just the way he sees shit all the time.
It's more like a futuristic version though, like Minority Report. So he's just like sliding shit.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, just dealing with people's fucking lives.
Always there's a turn somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
So this whole season, because we talked about this last week, that they got canceled during this whole run. So the whole season dumped in one shot. So it was different than what they had been doing, and they dumped it on Netflix. I was worried about it. I mentioned it last week just because of the nature of that. Like, what are they going to do? Is it going to feel cut off and like not whole? I thought what they did was good. There's a factoid later that I'll mention to you that ties into kind of what was maybe left on the cutting room floor.
A lot of Ahsoka stuff, maybe, because she wasn't in the episode at all, except for Yoda's dream state later on.
No, it's other people, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
Tease. I thought this season was, I thought it was really good. I think it was great, but I thought it was really good. It was better than I was expecting because I was a little bit worried about it. I thought the way they ended it with all that lore was fantastic. Did you catch who the voice actor is for Palps now?
I did not.
Tim Curry.
No shit.
Yes, so he took over as Palps going forward. So that's his voice. If you listen back now, you'll hear it.
Wow.
He took over for whoever the actor was before that. I can't remember.
Okay.
The guy who played it.
Was this before or after the stroke? Because I don't think he's doing anything much after the stroke.
I can't remember the timeline, but you're right. I did read a little bit about that he had that issue. Yep. Of course, what Tim Curry was also in.
Three Musketeers.
Clue.
He was the doctor on The Hunt for Red October.
Don't even start with me. Don't even start.
I remember that.
It's not a good film.
He's
poking me.
Tie that in. That's a 7 Days a Geek joke and a very, very. You had to be in the chat rooms for most of that conversation. Or on
a lot
Twitter,
of it was
actually.
on Twitter. It was just out there in the open on Twitter. But it was just funny. I had a little dig there. I did like the fact too that, like you said, it jumps right in, and it's like all this stuff that's building, showing not just what Palps is doing, but just how everything is lining up into that. Well, they're calling it. What do they call it? Not Order 66. What do they call it? It was something else. But anyway, essentially all the groundwork for that plot is being laid out here, which I thought was cool to jump in with the clones and show kind of how that's all been built into them and all that kind of thing. So that was pretty sweet. It also, frankly, this season had one of my new favorite droids, AZ3. I like that droid a lot.
That droid that turned into a fucking hovercraft?
Jet ski.
Yeah.
It's like a jet ski droid.
Yeah, I was like, throw this guy. He needs his own movie.
He was handy as hell. And he immediately jumps in with Fives and is like, I got your back, man. I'm going to help you get this shit sorted. And I appreciated that.
Yeah, so they're trying to escape Camino because, a little backstory, Top is this, he's one of the clones that ends up smoking a Jedi because his conditioning issues kind of come through to the
he
surface.
decides he's got a grudge against a fucking Jedi. He
just
a little
comes
headache.
forward
He's like
a zombie.
Jedi.
Yeah.
Good soldiers follow orders.
Right, yeah.
Soldiers follow orders. Smokes a Jedi, and then they capture him and take him back for reconditioning, right? Or to process what went wrong with him.
But at the same time, that Admiral Trench guy notices it. He's got the closed circuit TV footage of it, and so he alerts Dooku hold up, I think some shit's happening with these clones that you were the original creator of.
He's a mix between the Monopoly guy and a robotic tarantula.
When he does that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so creepy.
Yes, I hate that too.
Yeah, so they take him back to Camino. The Separatists try to take him, but then they ended up, getting him back, take him to Camino, and then that's when you really see how much the Kaminoans knew exactly what this whole fucking thing was about, because they're in cahoots with Dooku.
But do they? They're led to believe that it was because of a Jedi before like that made the
Psycho
plans originally, right?
Right.
That it was just to as like a
inhibitor chip to cull
Yes.
rogue Jedi is what they said, right? They said
Yeah.
it was just to keep these rogue Jedi from going off
just
the rails.
yes,
But it's
Yes.
actually been implanted in all of them to
so they can execute Order 66.
execute Order
Right.
66.
Yeah, Protocol 66 is what they call it earlier.
There we go.
That's what it is. But yeah, I love how Nalase, however you say it, the Kaminoan's like, we should kill him. Just like straight up.
Yeah.
Let's kill him and open up his brain.
It's like, this one was broken. We're sorry. We'll get you guys a full warranty. But yeah, that really does look into the like how much these clones are just treated like property.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, they're not.
Or there's a whole conversation again about the name and the numbers and even the droids. Like, well, no, you're not. You're just numbers.
Yeah, right.
They have the back and forth about.
Well, Fives is there with him, right? And like him and Fives is kind of there for the whole entire thing. He gets ordered back, and then he decides to kind of like stick around and get to the bottom of it. And then Shakti is the Jedi, and that's assigned to Kamino, it looks like almost. And her
Right.
and the lead engineer seem to be arguing back and forth about what they're going to do with Tup. Are they going to kill him and check his whole body? Are they going to do that brain scan thing? They're going to try to take the chip out. And then they say his chip was corroded. Like, so there's this whole episode where they're carrying around this little tumor.
Right.
This little tumor. It's not a tumor. And they're just running around with the tumor the entire episode, and then people are trying to capture it. And
I like when he gets it done to him, and he's 5 minutes later he's running around battling whatever, and just let's fucking escape. Let's go back. Let's do this. And I'm like, you just had your fucking head cut open. Take a breather.
They're tough, man. And
Yeah.
his looks fine. So they go back and find all. They look at the embryos and see
This
how
is
they're
what
all
a
getting
smoker's
implanted.
lungs look like. This is what a
here's your inhibitor chip. Here's your inhibitor chip. On
That's
drugs.
Any questions?
Yeah, it's a nice way to cover it, by the way, with them just being like, no, this is to keep them from getting too aggressive. Like, okay. But then they take him back to, the Kaminoans want him to go to Palps to be checked out, and the Shakti wants him to go to the Jedi. But when they get back there, they take him to, she drugs him with something to like kind of make him silly, Fives. And then he goes in and Palps is like, I want to have a little private chat with Fives here. And then and then it turns into this stage thing where it looks like he tried to kill
He's crazy, yeah.
him, yeah.
Well, he doesn't help himself. He's ranting and raving like a crazy person.
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe if he would have just like.
I know the conspiracy.
Right. If he would have just like pulled Anakin to the side and been, hey, listen, bro, this is what's going on. I've served with you thousands of battles.
Right.
Instead
Instead of luring him into a dark fucking warehouse and hiding
Yeah.
behind boxes.
You
and
gotta
shouting.
know what's going
Yeah.
on. Like everybody just like Lee Harvey Oswald all of a sudden. Like, just stop it. Just calm down and like explain yourself.
Don't you like how they go to the clone bar called 79s? What's funny about that is that is one of my first memories of like the consultant watching it was me seeing this episode. It all came back to me. I was like, oh, that's right. I remember this.
Okay.
And I love how there's clone troopers out there looking for him. And I just thought, what do they like walk around going, you seen a guy that looks like this? Yeah, there's 100 of them.
Yeah. What do you mean we all look alike?
He's got a 5. He's got a 5 on the corner of his face.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, isn't there? They use the bathroom in this one too, right?
They do. He goes in and talks to that guy, Kix, I think, and is
Yeah.
like, you need to tell Rex, meet me in a dark alley.
Yeah. That's what I always want to be approached in the bathroom and told to go meet someone in a dark alley.
Yeah, it's a little bit odd. And of course, you get, I assume the whole time I'm watching this, I'm just like, Cole is enjoying this so much because it's just so much, hey, brother. Hey, brother. There's just constant brother
It
talk.
was.
Yeah.
So Fives gets capped, which was very sad. Then, like, Palps basically is like feeding the Jedi a bunch of BS about how, it was a parasite that we found in his brain, and that's what caused the issue. And so, good news is we're inoculating every trooper so this doesn't happen to them. Just like that fucking hoax of a virus that they're putting all these goddamn...
it was just COVID.
Dude, they're fucking this dude can just spin the shit left and right. This
His
guy,
bullshit meter just knows no bounds, right?
he just goes for it. I'm like, there's no fucking way that people can't see he's like full of shit. Like, we all know, but then like everyone else is just like,
Yeah, but he's the caring, charming chancellor.
seems okay.
No,
Seems like a nice guy.
he loves us all.
Yeah. So yeah, I thought those 4 episodes were good. It was a great way to start the show. Then we slip to Scipio and we start talking Padme. And
Yeah,
Clovis is
Clovis
back.
wants to slip it while he's in Scipio.
Real quick before we move on to that,
Oh, sorry.
I had in my notes the Five's death scene was kind of it was really, you get to see the humanity of the clones and how they have their burden to carry out their own duty type of a fucking vibe. And I was like, man, that's kind of a sad ending to that little story arc. I thought it was, but it was also very well done.
For some reason, I'm having like a dark spot on his death.
They're in the there's like a ray shield involved, right? Or what
He's
happens
got them
when he gets
trapped.
blasted?
He has
Yes.
Anakin and Rex kind of trapped so he can talk to them, and then these troopers come in, and he goes for a blaster. The guy's like, "Don't do it." And he goes for the blaster.
Oh
and they shoot him
yeah.
in the
Because he was screaming and hollering. That's when he dies. Okay, that's right.
You get to actually see some killing in these episodes
Yeah,
too.
there's a
Like you
few-
see
yeah.
a shot to the chest, and then he like dies. Like I was just
Yeah.
trying to do my duty, right? He's talking to who was he talking to?
Rex.
Rex, right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
Right
Yep.
to the heart.
I know. Got him right.
the
in the
fucking dirt in the neck, man.
So we go to Scipio, which is a hilarious name, and they're trying to stay neutral. So Padme is going in there to basically negotiate a loan for the Republic because that's where the banking group is, and they bring in Clovis, and she's like, "Fuck no."
Yeah, I'm
He
not
walks
even having this conversation, and she walks out. I'll be in my room when you get this situated.
I'll work
Yeah.
with anyone other than him.
Yep.
Right. And so, then he basically goes to her and is like, there's this corruption going on. You need to help me prove it. We need to get into that vault. Meanwhile, Embo, my bounty hunter friend,
Yep.
takes a shot at him, but clearly missed him on purpose, just to kind of, cause a threat there that made Padme get on Clovis's side and be like, okay, we should do this.
That makes sense.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got her lined up, and then all of a sudden he just randomly
He
misses.
steers over it. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it was on purpose. But then they decide they're going to do this whole plot, which is like, they're gonna go in. She's gonna go into the vault. They're gonna blow the power or whatever, so she can run around and get this information.
Yeah, it's being very Mission Impossible. Like as they're coming up with the plan, they're showing what's at the same time.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But then Clovis has to stay there, so that Tekla gal has to go do it. And then of course she gets shot
Right.
by
Yep.
Embo. So that all seemed like kind of a bit of a setup. But Padme gets the information, gets arrested for espionage, and that's when it gets really fun because Anakin shows up to get her out, and he is not happy.
Yeah.
that Clovis
This is
in the mix.
angry, horny Anakin right here.
Angry, horny. I had petulant and immature, but okay, we'll go
Oh.
angry and horny. But yeah, maybe I'll just leave you here.
This
to
was
rot.
like
what a fucking
a
dick.
Telemundo fucking soap opera. When that door
Yeah.
opens up and he's like, and the camera goes zoom and zooms in on him, and he's like, "Oh hell no!" Fucking just starts whooping his ass. I do like the fight, like where they're fighting each other, and Anakin's like pulling his punches or whatever. At one point, Clovis goes to punch him, and he just holds out his robot fucking hand.
Yeah,
He goes,
punches the
Donk!
hand. Ouch.
But yeah,
The old punch the punch thing. Yeah, he is so pissed off. I love the fact there's a moment too where she's telling him like, we've got to get this disc that's got information on it. He's like, where's the disc? And she does this weird thing where she kind of stops. She goes, it's at his private residence. Like,
Yep.
and Steve's so guilty.
Realizes, yes.
But Anakin goes right over it. It's like, okay. He totally missed it. Like, how do you know where his private residence is?
yeah.
I was waiting for Anakin to throw a stained wife beater on during this episode as he's beating the shit up out of Clovis, and then they have the little breakup. I don't want to
Yeah.
be with you anymore. And Anakin's
Oh,
just like,
man.
yeah. Like,
Yeah,
oh,
well,
Lord.
that all stems from the fact that he's like, at one point, well, hold on, back up for just a second. How sweet was the fucking snowboarder move by Embo?
Yeah, his hat.
Oh, yeah, his hat turns
doubles
into-
as
yeah.
like a freaking.
That
Yep.
was awesome. At some point, Palps is like, you need to work with Clovis, Padme. And, Anakin's just like, and Yoda senses it. And I think at that point, maybe is it when Kenobi goes in and is like, look, man, I know you got
Yes.
the hots for her. You're going to fuck
like,
this all up. Don't.
I had
you
a
didn't-
thing going on with Sabine. I get it. You're human, but you can't follow through with that. And he's like, well, Obi-Wan, little do you know, is I'm hitting that.
Satine, not Sabine.
That's what I said.
Remember, Anakin confronts her after that, and he's like, I demand that you not work
Yes.
with Clovis. And she's basically like, well, I demand that you go fuck yourself because I'm
Yeah,
going to
he
do
put
it.
his foot down.
Watch this, R2. I'm putting my foot down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope.
It got real heated. And
She
wants
is
a break.
not submissive in the bedroom.
No.
No.
So then it ends up the whole thing comes to head where we get the cliffhanger scene with Clovis and Padme both like hanging off the edge of a cliff, and somehow mysteriously Anakin's able to use his lower half of his body to keep two people upright. Like, I'm just like,
Well,
okay.
he's sliding on an angle.
Yeah, he's sliding down at an angle,
Yep.
and all of a sudden he reaches out and is able to stop. and grab two people.
I can't lift the both of you, but I can hold you here without sliding off this cliff myself.
Yeah.
Again, why aren't we using the Force there and just picking them both up?
That's what I thought.
we've
Just
seen
drop
so many
them and then
times.
use the Force, because they've done it a lot in the last 2 seasons or so. But like for some reason, every once in a while, it's like, well, you just did something an hour ago.
I just forget
Do
that
it again.
I forget that I have that tool at my disposal. Or maybe it's on recharge.
Yeah,
or
later
something.
he's like slapping his head. I totally could have just used the Force.
Dang it.
I like that Clovis is just like, let me go. Like, I'm done. I'm so screwed right now. I might as well
Right?
just
Yeah.
die.
He became a traitor.
Yeah.
Then he was like, he had no choice but to fucking do what Dooku wanted him to do. Dooku set him up. Wasn't even there for it. So he was burning. If he lived, he wasn't gonna have a good life.
I was waiting for the NC and the backdraft to kick in. Where he's like, you go. We go. He's like, hold them, this fucking crap.
Well, and I think it's kind of implied that once Padme apologizes after that happens, that they just go off and have like crazy makeup sex in Clovis's bed. I assume.
Oh,
that's what
yeah.
happened next.
Yeah. It's like, well, he's not using it anymore.
Everybody
And
gets horny.
she's like, I really do like the 1,000 count thread Cheaty's got. She's like, you've been in his bed before? Like he
Wait a
catches
minute.
that one. Yeah.
Everyone's horny after a funeral, so that's how it works.
Well, and then again, we get one of the lines we've kind of heard out of Palps before, where he's like, I will, humbly take over the banks now. Like,
Right,
he's doing
yeah.
that whole, like, I don't really want to do
I
this.
mean, if
but,
this is what the
twist my
people
arm.
want.
Right. All right. You ready to talk Jar Jar?
He's in a couple episodes. Moving on.
The Queen of Bardota. Love Jar Jar.
Yes. Yeah, so we get a little backstory here about in the past at some point in time, the Jedi were perceived as kidnappers by the Bardodians.
Kinda true.
Bardotas. Yeah, so they were in there just like kind of just taking their brightest and best, right? Like taking the kids that had the potential to be Jedi.
Oh,
the
yeah.
midichlorians,
Yep.
right? And
You're coming with us.
yeah. So that's a cool little backstory I like.
So no Jedis allowed.
Well, there's a lot of resentment towards the Jedi on Bardota because of that, it sounds like. So
Right, but there's a lot of people in between Jedi and Jar Jar that you can choose to come be your liaison, your ambassador for whatever. Not like, well, I trust Jar Jar, send him. Eat that dick.
He's got
And
that
then-
in with the Queen.
And then she's like, well, let's meditate on it. And all of a sudden they're like doing like hip thrusts and kung fu moves and stuff. And I'm like, what is going on with these two? It got really weird. I'm like, am I the only one that saw a little, like, I thought these two were like, there was going to be a love interest. And I was like, Jar Jar doesn't need a fucking love interest.
Oh, they were 100% a love interest. I mean, they're doing Tai Chi together. They kissed on the mouth. So
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
well, right off the bat, I wrote down my notes. They pair up Mace Windu and Jar Jar together. I said, well, what could possibly go
Right.
wrong? The most serious, least patient Jedi we have, and then you've got Jar Jar. No, I guess Mace Windu is really patient, but he's a no nonsense Jedi.
Yes.
Well, the cool thing that is probably the best thing about this sequence, other than one other thing we'll get to in a minute, but is that you get to see Mace kick some ass. Like he works over people quite well, and that was fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Fun to watch that, and then I kind of got a Temple of Doom vibe throughout
Absolutely.
this episode.
Yeah.
for sure.
This is the second time this happened. They had one like last season, the season before, but that was 100% Temple of Doom. Like it's like they're literally in the cages, they're underground,
Yeah.
they're doing a sacrifice. I mean, it's
Mother Rom to the Rom. I was
Yeah,
waiting
what
for
were
that
those
to start
guys called? The Frangal,
Frangal.
the cult.
There's the Dagoians. Is that what the race is on Bardota? Dagoians.
The Dagoian Masters, is what they call them.
Okay.
So then they get away with her, with the Queen, and Mace is like, we can follow the feelings of the sphere.
That and like they couldn't write Jar Jar more annoying. Like they couldn't do it. Like
Just not stop.
Oh,
We got to hurry. They're getting away.
he gets on
Patience.
backwards. Of course he gets on backwards.
Right.
He ends up backwards riding his
Well,
stupid.
after he slides over it completely and then has to get
It's
back
like,
on.
come on, you guys.
That creature.
We get it. He's a bumbling fool.
Yeah.
And that Mace Windu has no patience with him. But look, Mace starts to grow on Mace, I feel like, towards the end of it. And Mace is like respecting his skills a little bit.
I feel like there was a joke somewhere, like back at the Jedi Council. They were like, we're going to test his patience. Let's see if...
Who's the
See,
worst
like-
person we can send?
Let's see
Nice.
how in tune with the Force he really is. Give him a couple days of Jar Jar.
The ultimate trial. Talk about those trials Yoda goes through. This is a different
Exactly.
one. Oh, man.
That's one of the trials for a Jedi to become go from a Padawan to a full Jedi. You have to hang with Jar Jar. for a
Yeah,
day.
yeah, you got to go on a road trip with him.
Well, like when Mace is trying to figure out where she is in the city when they land, and he's like, hold on, I got to think. And he's like, just keeps talking. He's like, I'm trying to fucking think. Can you give me a minute? So annoying. But I did not see the Mother Talzin thing coming. I guess that's dumb on my part. But once they kept calling it what'd they call her? The Great Mother. And the second she showed up, I was like, of course.
Duh. And then, of course, the orb is green, just like her fucking stinky fart smell magic powers that come off of her.
Yeah.
Did you get that sense? Like, she starts walking and, like, this green. I was like, okay, that kind of sells it like she just, like, crop dusted the little guys.
She conjures a cool lightsaber blade, too. Like
right, yeah.
Or whatever they call it. I guess lightsaber, but it's a cool-ass, like, conjured blade that can go up against a lightsaber.
That was a cool battle. But then did she then the sphere dies and she kind of holds up breaks. She kind of holds up the last shard of it and is like, and then she just withers away like the Wicked Witch of the West or something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
She's gone, and then there's a huge force explosion of energy, right? And then everyone within the 10-mile radius is now sterile, apparently. So
that means Jar Jar can't procreate. That's okay.
That's good. That is very good. They cut his lineage out of this whole entire universe.
Look, we have the last season. It's a short season coming up. There can't be Jar Jar filler episodes.
I don't think so. I don't think there's any way they can do that.
Is it only 13 for the last, or is
12.
it 10? What is it? 12. Okay.
Yeah. And I think it's 4 different arcs. Like I think it's like I think they throw you into something, then I think they go back a little. Sorry, Cole. And then I think they finish with the last 4. And so they're like 3 separate arcs in the whole story.
Okay.
So if he's in it, it's bit part. I think.
Yeah.
That'd be my guess.
So this whole kind of arc, I think, kind of ends with it's kind of a new beginning. The Bardodians and the Jedi kind of mended the wrongs that have been done in the past, right? I guess. So going forward, sounds like there's some
they learn to trust each other again.
Yeah. So.
And now we get to the exciting conclusion.
Yes.
So they receive a distress call. So your guy Plo Koon decides to go out there to look for Sifo Dyas. They find his wrecked ship. That was a cool scene where they're like going through that crazy planet and then they could barely see anything. They find his saber, and then Kenobi, is talking to the council and basically recounts what we saw him do in episode 2, Attack of the Clones, where he's like, I went to Camino, and I knew that there was a Jedi who had kind of orchestrated this. They give you a lot of backstory about how he was the one who kind of did it on his own, saying that he had the backing of the Senate and the Republic or whatever, but he didn't because he had this foresight that there was going to be this war coming and that we were going to need an army. So that's kind of where that stemmed from. So that was really cool to see all that kind of build up.
Yeah, he got judged too extreme to be on the Jedi Council, right? Like Sifo Dyas' thing. So they kind of kicked him off, and then it's like you get the vibe that he just went and did what needed to be done off on his own accord, right?
That's what it seemed like to me. Yes. And then Kenobi and Anakin go to Felucia to like investigate his death and basically find that there was somebody else with him. And so Yoda goes and questions Palps about that and why the case is locked, like why they can't access the files on his death. And he's like, well, you got to go talk to Valorum. I forgot Valorum was still alive. I forgot he just got voted no confidence, boofed. That's good. Dumped from his position in, was that episode 1 or 2? Can't remember when that was. Remember
he steps down and
I don't remember. You know what I'm talking about? That they had the previous chancellor and they did like a vote of no confidence that Jar Jar got looped into doing.
Yes.
He looks exactly like the guy in the animation too. They did a really good job rendering his character from episode 1 or whatever.
Is it Terrence Stamp? Is that his name? The guy who plays Zod.
Yeah, that's Terrence Stamp.
Yeah, that is the guy that plays Zod. Good job.
Yeah. So that was so you get to see him again. I mean, it's obviously not his voice, but somebody else. But he basically says, yeah, my aide went with him. Silman, this guy Silman, went with Sifo Dyas to Felucia. And then you find out they get shot down.
Right.
At the behest of Dooku to the Pikes. So shit's getting real.
Yeah, so
then this is where Obi-Wan decides to kind of go and have a chat himself with Anakin. And they're going to go there and find this this second person that was there. Well, they're going to go talk to the Pikes and kind of just get down to brass tacks. Like, give us the fucking information.
Right. Yeah, and I love it because they're like, it's Tyrannus who told us. And then later on, they're like, wait a minute. They have that fucking head blown moment where they're like, Dooku is Tyrannus?
You're Tyrannus?
You just got this?
I'm not going to lie. I kind of just picked up on it myself.
Oh, really? Well, you know what? They haven't been saying Tyrannus up until it was either this season or the end of last one. We watched it so close. So, like, the Lord Tyrannus thing wasn't used a lot until...
Pretty sure they said it in episode 2.
Yes, but then Palps calls him that a couple times in this season.
Lord Tyrannus.
But now no one is aware of that there isn't even... Right? No one is aware there's someone higher than Dooku. Well, they speculate someone is because he's a...
Yeah, they know somebody is. They don't know who it is.
He's not a master, but they don't know who it is. Yeah.
And later on, Sifo Dyas is like, I can tell you who it is, when Yoda's, going through his trials, but we'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, so Dooku goes in and basically chokes that Stillman guy to death while they're all standing there trying to talk to him. I love how they both react. He gets lifted up and is being force choked, and they're both looking at him like, what is going on? Like they've never seen that before.
We're like, are you doing this? No, I'm not doing it. Are you doing it?
And I'm sitting there watching. I was like, okay, first I'm talking out loud. I'm like, they would know someone's there using the force. Like, they wait until the guy gets choked and dropped, and then they both look over their shoulder, like, who could be behind us?
Man, Dooku, that dude has zero fucking chill on going in against like 5,000 troops. Like he's surrounded by all the pikes. He's got 2 Jedi that he's fighting off with one hand, and then
he's like, "Watch me put a hand behind my back."
He's gonna get into his fucking ship. Watch
Arrogant
this.
fuck.
He's gonna get into his stupid fucking ship and escape.
Whack ass ship. I hate that ship.
Fucking stupid ship.
But then, I think it kind of wraps up with the council basically saying, "Oh, so Dooku built the clone army? Why? We should keep this to ourselves."
Yeah, because it's working out really well for us so far, but let's not question anymore as to why Dooku did it. Like, there's not another master plan that we're unaware of. But especially in the last couple episodes, they keep questioning that the dark side might be able to, they're so strong or able to do things they're unaware of that even Yoda wouldn't know.
Right.
And then Yoda's like, we'll just shove this one under the cushion. We're not going to talk about it.
Nobody says a word. But then it starts this whole 3-episode sequence with Yoda, which is really interesting because there's a lot going on here. First, Yoda's hearing Qui-Gon. Mm-hmm. And that's I think that's the only time I've ever seen Yoda look shook. Like he was like, what?
Yep. Yeah.
Well, they end up scanning Yoda for Alzheimer's, right? They take him into the sick bay.
Basically, they think he's got dementia.
They put him in one of Joe Rogan's float tanks and put him under the deprivation.
That is the first thing I thought of when I saw it. I was like, he's in a deprivation tank. This is like you guys floating.
Yeah.
Nope. Been there. It does. It works really good for meditation. I was like, Yoda, you're going to find your answers.
It works in the real world.
So he gets in his little... So there's a whole, like, he has to almost... He's like, what Jedi could I use to help me escape and defy the council? And all of a sudden, here comes Anakin. Hey, Yoda, how you doing? Like,
of course.
I got nothing to lose.
It is his answer to them after he, like, puts him on his ship with R2. They go away, and fucking Mace comes running up. What did you do? And he's like, hey, for once, it wasn't my idea.
Don't blame the messenger. Don't shoot the messenger. Yeah, but he, because Qui-Gon tells him to go to Dagobah. So he's like, okay, got to get out of here. So he takes R2 and shoots off to Dagobah, which I was real excited to see how they were going to, handle this whole situation. So he gets there, and I will call this, because we're on, I think, episode 12 now, Destiny, maybe.
Yep.
I'll call this episode Me and My Shadow, because that thing he encounters is fucking creepy.
Well, before you get to that part, like when he lands and gets out and he's talking to R2 and he's looking out across the swamp and R2 is like, I want to stay here. And he's like, okay, you can stay with the ship if you want. Isn't that the exact same scene with Luke and R2 when he first goes to Dagobah?
Yeah. Because he falls in, then he comes out, then he waits. He's like, you wait here, I'm going to go. Exactly.
It shoots ahead according to like the timeline, if I'm correct, which I'm more than likely not. But it replays the events of the Clone Wars, right? Like you see the entire.
When he's in the cave.
Yeah.
Which is basically the cave Luke went into, right?
Yes, it's exactly, yes.
Right. And you get to he kind of discovers Sidious, and then like the whole concept would be he's trying to preserve a life force, manifest the consciousness, and then you can commune after death, right? That's the big stepping stones.
Yeah, they're saying there's the life force, and then once you're dead, you go into the cosmic force. But when you go into the cosmic force, most people no longer have an identity. So you couldn't commune with the dead because they no longer exist as that person anymore. But this is why Qui-Gon's saying there's a way to get around that.
Yep.
Now we're into Me and My Shadow. So Yoda finds that system that he's supposed to go to. Qui-Gon's like, you need to go to this place that's like where one of the origins of all life in the galaxy is.
Moraband.
No, that's next. This is the first place, isn't it? Moraband's last. Moraband's where he goes. That's the Sith place. This is the place
he goes to the island.
Yeah, this is the world where it's spewing out midi-chlorians into the universe.
Right. Yeah, he comes in and basically does like a Jesus take the wheel, and the thing magically flies in and lands in the right place. And then he heads into that volcano, and those creepy figures come out, and they look like... Remember, that painting, The Scream, where the guy's like...
Yes.
That's what they look like. They're so fucking freaky. It was creeping me out. So they're going to put him through these trials, these creepy-faced people, all voiced by Jamie King, by the way. I was looking at that to see who's the voice of those. And she tells him he's got to, like, face his fears on the island, and he's like, no problem.
I did this when I was 100.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
He does walk into like every one of these situations cocksure. Because
he
they're like,
does.
well, you got to face whatever. And he's like, well, okay, I've already done that before. He walks in and they're like, ugh, and he's like, you're not real. No, and they disappear. It's like
He's been around for so many centuries. He's like, I don't give a shit. Like I've seen it all, man.
Well, if that's you got all the downfalls of every Jedi, right? Like their own weakness, and the only thing you could say about Yoda is he's too sure of himself, like arrogance, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, for sure.
I think just like so strong with the Force. I think that's my interpretation of it. Is like he goes in there and he's just like he can't be fooled.
He's never been put down,
right? Yeah,
in my opinion.
But I think we skipped over, didn't we? Did we skip over like Gremlin Yoda?
That's what I was saying. He fights that shadow. That's essentially himself.
Yes.
His
right.
precious.
That's a creepy.
Yeah, it was
scene.
fucking Lord of the Rings, man. That's exactly what it was.
Yes, it was. That was creepy as shit.
And you know what I kind of realized too during this whole thing? You know who's the one constant in like almost all of this stuff? Imagine the things that R2 has seen. All the shit that like R2D2 has, because he's been there for everything.
Yeah.
Like he's just like, he saw this shit on you and like, but he can't ever like tell anybody anything, like, because he's got just a dumb droid.
I know, like when he lands on Dagobah, and then years later when he goes with Luke again, would you think he'd be like, "Hey, Luke, I've been here. I know where his cabin is."
I looked at the script for Empire Strikes Back because I'm like, is there any exchange that's just not going to work with this at all? And I think all he says is like, he goes, "Yes, R2, it's probably safe for droids down there," like because he's like, "I'm picking up a lot of life forms." But there's no other evidence that he knows it. Of course, all of this gets fleshed out later, so why would they? But yes, he's been there before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure it's perfectly safe for droids. Well, I'll keep it on. No, I'll keep it on manual control for a while. Right? Is that what he says when he's driving it?
Exactly. So he fights his own shadow, and basically it's the dark side of himself. So he's fighting himself, and he rejects it and defeats him. And
after a smack around, though, it was like two brothers going to war.
Yeah, I've seen
You're
that.
gonna give me that remote.
And then there's the terms they're throwing around, like you must face the temptations, which I was like waiting for my girl to kick in. And then they're like, you must enter the Valley of Extinction. There's all these.
No, I don't want to go there.
Jurassic Park.
Is that Yoda's old band, Valleys of Extinction?
It's the Jizz Whalers.
But she's like, you have to go through this and pass through without any emotion or attachment. Again, with the just, hey, don't get involved. Just stay emotionally unavailable. But he sees those dead Jedi. He sees Mace. He sees all the younglings. He sees Ahsoka. Finally, we get to see a little bit of Ahsoka.
Right.
And she's kind of struggling, trying to talk to him like, am I still a Jedi? Am I still going to, become one with the Force and all this? And then she dies. And then that nasal youngling from last season shows up and is like, hey, let's go see what it looks like if the war didn't happen. He's like, no war?
Take my hand. Okay.
So the whole crew's there. Qui-Gon's there. Dooku's there and is like a nice guy, but he knows it's bullshit.
Come on, Master.
Yeah.
Don't you want to hear what they're going to say?
Right. So once he realizes that's bullshit, they're like, okay, now you can go to Moraband.
To go back a minute, though, like when he was in this first trial and the fog comes into the cave and he's seeing the fight where basically just before Mace fucking chops off Jango's head, then it shows the Emperor killing Mace.
Yes.
You see that shot where he's electrocuting him and then it cuts to another thing. I was like, oh, he's seeing all this shit and he doesn't even know what it is yet.
Yeah, has no idea. Yeah, and Sidious, like, is that when Sidious says, join me? It's the only way or something like that?
Yes.
And he freaks out, yeah. Some
You
bad
think
shit
that
in that cave.
out of everything that in there, he would have taken the warning, like, man, we got to watch Skywalker, right? Like, he's like, he should have, like, kind of been cued in. We got to keep an eye on Anakin.
He's got a heavy blind spot for Anakin.
And there was no revelation to Anakin in any of that.
Yeah, that's true. There wasn't.
No, I think he sees Anakin kneeling before him, and then you hear Vader come in, like, right? He sees Anakin kneeling before the Emperor right after he kills Mace, because you see the lightning.
Oh, I guess that. Okay, I don't remember seeing that shot.
Maybe I read into that, or maybe I just played the scene out in my mind that way, or something like that. But
he couldn't tell. He's like, is that the back of Anakin's head?
Yeah,
I've seen it many times.
So now it's time for Moraband, the ancient homeland of the Sith. And so, yeah, that's when he meets those Sith, which are like snake-like, faceless, creepy creatures that are basically like, there's no life after death, dude. So I don't know what you're after here.
yeah.
At the same time, Dooku senses this is happening and gets summoned to Coruscant by Sidious. But Yoda then goes on to that temple and meets Darth Bane. And immediately I'm like, any relation to Cad? Are they cousins?
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
But he's the one who created the rule of two. this Darth Bane. And also, did you know who the voice of that was?
Weird Al Yankovic.
Mark Hamill.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I thought that was a nice
I'll go back
twist.
and listen to it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. It's hard to tell. I listened back, and you can't really hear it. But I thought that I saw the end credits. I always look at like who it starred, and it was like Mark Hamill. I was like, oh, you fucking kidding me? I didn't even notice that.
That's cool. That's really cool, actually.
So while he's on Moraband, he passes all the tests and all the illusions that are thrown in his path.
Yeah.
And he has a path to. He's going down this path to communing after death, right? The teachings of Qui-Gon. How did Qui-Gon find out or figure it out? We never really get to that.
No, they've never explained it other than apparently Qui-Gon is the first one to have been able to do it.
He was trying to do. So they said this. They sent Yoda to Dagobah to finish what Qui-Gon could not. Right. So Qui-Gon started this journey.
That's what Qui-Gon said. You must go to Dagobah to finish what I could not. He does say that to him.
Yes. So maybe. So I don't know. Maybe.
I think that has to do with.
Maybe Qui-Gon knew enough just to not release himself into the Force, and then
I think he meant more finish what I could not, as in like deal with the balance with the Force and the Clone Wars and
maybe
all
he
that.
just got there and there was one of those protein sticks that you eat that he feeds, and there was only half eaten, and he goes, "Oh, I gotta finish it." I couldn't eat. Qui-Gon couldn't eat the whole thing.
Oh my god!
I've got a hamburger still on a wrapper.
Ham
I need
sandwich.
you to go finish it.
Save that. Hey, save that ham sandwich for me.
In fact, hold on to it until you die and then bring it to me in death.
Half-eaten McDonald's French fry, just sitting there.
Shit's cold, man. Finish it anyway.
He's got to go through all these trials and tribulations, and he's like, now bring that fry back to Dagobah.
I'm gonna eat these nuggets with honey sauce, man.
And then immediately it chimes in. I'm loving it. Like just add.
Ending of season.
That's a fucking corporate tie-in right there.
So then Yoda encounters Sifo Dyas, who's like appears as like a prisoner. And that's when he says, I can tell you who the Sith Lord is, just free me. And he's like, bullshit. I mean, he's just basically having to say bullshit to everything. Basically, the way you pass the trials is just be like, no, this is real.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah.
And you're fine.
This is all a dream.
Trust nothing or no one. Just put your head down and walk through. That's all you got to really do.
But then he gets transported into the transport ship that Anakin's on. And he's like, what are we doing here? And he's like, dude, this is your mission.
I thought he was still doing the trials.
Yeah, I get
because
confused.
like all of a sudden he's on the fucking transport ship,
but I think
he's
he is
hearing
doing
like the rules and all this, and I'm like, but he ends up on fucking Tatooine fighting them. But I think it's all still. Then it ends up being like in their head because at some point Palps pulls his head out of the fucking bird bath, and he's like, "Well, we didn't succeed this time." I was like, "Wait a minute, you guys were just fucking fighting on a falling ladder and bridge and all this shit." Like it was really weird the way that it I don't think they did a really good job of transitioning.
What were Dooku and Palps doing? They were trying to
because he had a connection to him still,
right?
And because Dooku knew he felt something, so Palps was using like his blood to his connection to Yoda to try to, I think, see what he was up to while he was doing the trials. They didn't know, right? So it kind of, I think that was what made it confusing because while Yoda was doing his trials, they pop into it too.
Right, because they discovered that he's gone to Moraband. They're like, why the hell did he go there? So they're trying to figure it out and get in his head, like you said. And that's what happens is that's orchestrated in Yoda's mind that all of a sudden he's on this transport ship with Anakin, which is all fake. Mm-hmm. And they go and find them in the same exact spot that they're actually in, but it's fake. And then you see the scene where Anakin does the double lightsaber decap on Dooku.
Yep.
They chase after Palps, and then essentially they're about to die. And then but he realizes he's like, oh, this is all fake. Again, just it's all fake. It all goes away, and that's when Palps is like, well, we can't break into that guy's head.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
We tried.
Gave it a shot. Yeah. But it was cool because you see, I can't remember the sequence, but there's a point there where it says. What is that from? Where I just put a note down. I can't remember exactly how they showed it. Where he goes, there is another Skywalker.
Yeah. So he's basically telling him that. So he's aware of that when he says it later on. Like he has that line of dialogue
in
to
Return
say.
of the Jedi.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Empire.
Yep.
It's Empire when he's leaving the planet. He's training too early, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's when Yoda says.
Well, there's two cases. Empire, he says there is another to Kenobi, but in Return of the Jedi, as he's dying. He says there is another Skywalker.
Yes. And he says, my sister.
And that's when Luke's like, oh, shit.
No, he doesn't say my sister, but he knows.
He knows.
Yeah.
I kissed my sister.
Yeah, he lets that all out when he gets to the treehouse.
The only girl I ever kissed was my sister.
Yeah.
Fuck. Nobody's going to know.
It's really rough being a Jedi.
I'm not going to tell anybody.
There's sand everywhere, and you make out with family.
Blasted Biggs.
And then Yoda says, kind of as the last line, we found a path to victory over the Sith for all time. So essentially, I think that's meant to be the kind of the chosen one thing being transferred over to Luke.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or Rey.
Oh, no. The Skywalker Academy. Come full circle.
Yeah.
So, all in all, you guys like the season?
Are we in? Oh, I thought we were at the end.
I liked it. Keep the Jar Jar arc with Mace Windu and all that noise. Other than like seeing Mace be a little bit of a badass.
I'd like to get like a kid's perspective because I wonder if they're the one. Oh, those are the best episodes. Don't get rid of them.
Yeah, no, it could be. I mean, they're certainly playing to somebody there. But I think what you're going to see in season 7 is it's going to feel a little bit more. I mean, I can't remember if you guys said this or if I read it somewhere where basically they were saying
if it's smart, we said it.
The series grew up as it went along
yes.
with the kids who were watching it. So I think season 7 is going to be fairly not mature, but certainly dark as
Well, from everything I've seen, I mean, they've got way too much shit to wrap up and get to Revenge of the Sith to fuck around with Jar Jar on some phantom planet with Bird Lady.
Yeah.
Like, also, Misa got the kids now.
Misa pulled out. How did this happen?
Misa have muy child support.
Misa asked for DNA test.
Well, I can't wait for season 7. I think it's everything I've seen of it looks freaking awesome. So
yes.
I'm excited to do that.
I can't wait to get out ahead of you guys and watch as you struggle.
I can't wait to watch it next Friday before we record.
I may not be the greatest. I may not be greatest with timelines, but I knock out a couple of these episodes early.
Yeah, you're the smart one.
Oh, I've never heard that before.
Well, you're the most well-read of the group, I would say.
There we go.
60%.
Let's open up Maul's bag.
Oh, I love opening up Maul's bag.
Let's see what he has for us in there.
I'm a representative of the United States government, authorized by
Order 66.
And I'm a postman.
So we got one email this week. It's from Mike Laybourne. Thank you, Mike. Hope you win the Darksaber. If money were no object, which Star Wars movie prop would you buy with the qualifier, it has to fit on your property? So no Falcon.
False.
So, I thought this over.
False. There's a golf course behind us.
I thought this over, and I would do we've always talked about interconnecting our houses. I would do the Ewok village, interconnected through the trees on the back.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
And then we could just imagine that fucking play for it, right?
Yeah.
Because we have a parallel line.
And then how bad would I annoy you when I start blowing on that fucking horn? See if you're home.
We have like a line of the bucket that goes from my slider to the tree fort.
The neighbors are gonna love us.
Like, oh, I gotta send Jason Beers. I start cranking on this thing. It just goes through. Or we can do a catapult. Or one of those.
Just like drop rocks on rope down to the neighbors.
I feel like you should have for your prop one of those Ewok gliders, and then you get on your roof of your garage,
the hand glider,
and then you glide down to me.
And instead of dropping like rocks,
it's
just dropping beers.
Yeah,
okay.
Great idea.
That's
it
my
doesn't
idea.
necessarily fit on your property because I think you are crossing over a neighbor at this point, right?
I feel like it's public domain. I think we can. We'll
the sky is no one's.
You can't. You don't own the sand, man. No one owns the sand. God owns the sand.
I thought about Wilro Hood's ice cream maker because I mean,
okay,
it'd have to be autographed.
That belongs in a museum.
Yeah, it does. That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
That's an Indiana Jones.
Although, hey, we didn't talk about how adorable Yoda's little TIE fighter was.
Yeah, he had a cute little baby Yoda cruiser.
Well, doesn't he have? Is that the same one he has in Episode 3 when he takes off and is like, "I'm going into exile, peace out," because he gets into some little tiny craft.
Oh fuck, I don't remember. I've seen that movie in 15 years.
I know. We should probably rewatch those at some point.
I agree.
I think we all forget everything about them.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually watched 3 a couple weeks ago.
Did you?
Yeah.
So did he get in a small little ship in that movie?
I don't remember.
Okay.
It was right. Stuck with you. It was right at the end. He just gets in this little ship, and you know he's going to Dagobah. I don't know.
Okay.
I thought about. I don't think I could fit Slave One in my like driveway / front yard. Certainly wouldn't fit in the garage, but I thought that would be an awesome prop to have. I don't know. That's a tough question. I like your Ewok plan though.
What about Jabba's bed? You just put that in your front yard and lounge on it.
Okay. Yeah. Poolside.
I wonder, because it looks like just like a metal barge that they roll him around on. It doesn't seem like it's very comfortable.
Well, he sleeps sitting up like that, so we know he doesn't he doesn't stretch out.
Maybe he goes on. He needs to be on My 600-Pound Life because he's probably welded into that thing at this point in time. He can't get out. Be. Jason, what would you pick?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of something ridiculous, and nothing's coming to mind right now. Like maybe like the orchestra band.
You mean
those are props? Those people are props
for our backyard parties. We can just fucking cue them up.
Ladies and gentlemen, John Williams.
His other question, and maybe you guys will have more insight into this since you've been doing the audiobook. The High Republic has introduced us to Jedi that use kick-ass double-bladed sabers, but those sabers are also used to power their fighters' weapons somehow. What day-to-day activities would the panel use their lightsabers for? So, do you have familiarity with this?
Yeah, their little craft that they get into. I don't know if it's all of them, but they do. There's where they stick it in and boom, it lights everything up. It's part of their when they're saving the big fucking whatever happens
Exile
in the hyperspace
Prime?
and all that shit that's happening. I remember that being the ship being powered.
We need to really listen to the rest of that.
We need to finish it. Yeah. Kind of forgot about it.
Yep.
I mean, it took 9 years just to get to the fucking opening scene.
Whatever I can do to keep you from playing the Burt Bear podcast, that'd be great.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. It's every Monday, so the rest of the week we're good.
So it's almost like the lightsabers are like the keys to their vehicle. That's what does it all. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's almost like their catalytic converter. What is it? You always pull the carburetor off of a vehicle to keep it from running, right? So that you can't start it without this thing.
It just happens to be the lightsaber.
Yeah. Day-to-day activities. My first thought would have been tree trimming, shrubbery.
Yes,
shrub trimming, right? Like just be real easy.
If you get that Inquisitor one too, you could mow the grass, just hold that thing down.
Oh yeah, yep. Or get the high branches because you can fly with that thing too, right? Or hover. So
I like that more and more. They've used it as a flashlight in the last few episodes. Always igniting that thing in a dark room. What's going on over here?
It works great in power outages in the bathroom. I'll tell you that.
You can smoke a ham in 30 minutes.
Yeah, I thought about that. My dad is a big fan of the electric knife. Cutting the turkey. And I thought, man, you get a saber. You can just fucking flank steak, whatever you want. Cut that shit.
Have you seen those? Is it that insurance commercial things that are "Don't be your parents"?
Yes.
And it's a guy sitting down there. Now try this. He's trying to sit down. And he's right. He's trying to sit. I feel like that electric knife is something that you should not do to follow in your dad's footsteps.
Well, yeah, that commercial is great. It's like when they say, "Why do you have so many throw pillows on your couch? You can't even sit here." It's all those things over and over. Nope, don't do it.
I've not seen this.
Oh, you haven't seen those commercials?
No.
They're fucking brilliant. It'd be he's backing somebody out of their space. Come on, yep, keep it coming. He's like, you don't even know these people. Leave them alone. And he pulls them away. He's trying not to become your parents.
Okay. I get the gist. I've never seen them.
Oh, they're great.
Thank you, Mike, for that. Speaking of Mike, he gave us a little factoid to share. He says there was an 8-episode story arc that was planned out but never scripted because the show is canceled, referring to Clone Wars Season 6. He said that story arc became the novel Dark Disciple. It tells the story of Asajj Ventress and Quinlan Vos. Remember the dude with the fucking sweet triceps? The tracker that was with Kenobi when they were fighting Cad Bane?
Yeah.
Yeah, the guy, he was very...
he was a
flippant.
runner.
He was flippant, right? He didn't like to follow any rules.
Right, exactly. So yeah, there's Jedi, there was an 8-episode arc with involving those two. So he was going to get a lot of play, and that got scrapped.
But the book does exist.
The book does exist. It tells the story, but they cut it. They had to cut it from the actual.
I've got an Audible credit.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, so I'll just get
check
the book.
that shit out.
Yeah,
it's be good. So I think that's all we have, unless you had anything else.
No, I appreciate Mike Laybourne. I mean, he is all the time sharing the show, talking about the show. I feel like he listens to the other ones too. Emails are always coming in. We must make him feel like he's one of the smartest men in the world.
Well. Yes, that's for sure. The fact that he has the patience to listen to us, it's like we are the Jar Jar to his Mace Windu. He knows all this stuff and then has to listen to us fumble through it every week.
What a bunch of buffoons.
It must be like a second grade teacher. Oh my God, how do you guys not get this?
And then the rest of the listeners out there, why can't you all just be more like Mike?
Yeah.
Right?
Be like Mike.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening, including and especially Mike Laybourne. Until next time.
Never tell us the odds.
In our experience, there's no such thing as luck.
We have spoken. boo.